Hey everyone, Pupsker here, and today in Warframe, we're going to talk about how you can unlock every Warframe Incarnon weapon in the game, and how that actually fully works. If you didn't know, Incarnon weapons were first unlocked during Warframe Angels of the Zariman after the New War, so that was the very first update they were introduced, which means to start off, you do have to have the Zariman mission map node or area, open world, call it what you will, unlocked. The Zariman is right here over in the left section of the star chart. If you take a look at quests here, you can just look for Angels of the Zariman to see what you need to do for it and everything. The prerequisite quest is the New War, so it is pretty far in the game, all things considered. So you do have to complete the New War and then start Angels of the Zariman to start unlocking the new section of the map right there. From there, let's go on to the Zariman to actually take a look how you can unlock Incarnon weapons. Once you actually get down to the Zariman, it's pretty simple, all things considered. You can just fast travel over to your boy Cavallero in order to buy Incarnon weapons. This is the person you will need to talk to in order to both buy some of the Incarnon weapons, as well as evolve your Incarnon weapons. So first and foremost, you can go to Browse Wares, and this is where Cavallero sells the first base 5 Incarnon weapons. You have the Latum, Insane, the Inodem, the Fenmore, the Praetos, and the Phalarx. I think people like the Latum, Insane Weapon, and I think people like the Fenmore. I don't know about the Phalarx, the Praetos, or Inodem, but they seemingly are less popular. Either way, these 5 base Incarnon weapons are categorically pretty insane either way. They might not look like much, they have a pretty cool kind of shtick to them with the Incarnon kind of void energy on it. It looks nice, okay? It gets like angelified, but that's only part 1. That's how you unlock base Incarnon weapons. You can evolve Incarnon weapons through here, which is where it will hold the rest of your possible Incarnon weapons, but we'll talk about that after, because we're just going to finish up step 1 first. Once you actually get your Incarnon weapons and level them up, this is where you can click on to upgrade them and change their stats. So you unlock Form 1, which is evolve it, hit headshots, whatever. And then Form 2 has multiple different things that you can take a look at. Minus weapon recoil, added accuracy when aiming, increased projectile speed. Hey, all are decent. Then you have ones like reload, increased fire rate by 10% per shell, magazine reload per second when holstered, reload toggles weapon between 100% projectile speed and 4-meter punch through. Then you have other ones like plus status minus crit chance, right? Headshots built, more Incarnon transmutation, plus critical, plus status. And then you have the final one on some of them, which is pretty ridiculous. 50% chance to deal plus 2000% damage on non-critical hits. So you're like, oh, minus crit chance is actually good. On punch through 3 enemies, plus 70% ammo efficiency for 20 seconds. So maybe you're just going through more of a punch through build where you just want to hit all of the enemies, maybe CC them together with something like Vauban or any general CC. And then finally, gain ammo efficiency while aim gliding and sliding. Obviously, devastating attrition, without a doubt, just seems like the best one, unless you want to do something more specific with the ammo efficiency, but hey, 50% chance to deal 2000% damage, if you think about it, is kind of like a 1000% damage increase, so that's pretty goddamn busted. So that is how you unlock and get base Incarnon weapons. Now, let's talk about how you'll unlock the Incarnon weapon adapters. Once you've unlocked Zariman, you've unlocked Cavallero, you've done all of that, you have access to Incarnon weapons. Now is your next step. Once you're all good with those first 5 Incarnon weapons, you can start farming 5 Incarnon adapter possible choices weekly. What this means is every week, via the Duviri Paradox. That's right. You need to have both unlocked the Duviri Paradox as well as Steel Path in order to do this now, because it is a Steel Path Duviri Paradox farm. If you don't know about the Duviri Paradox, it is also a quest. So it is one of the longer quests in Warframe. I think it'll take about 3.5 or so hours to run the Duviri Paradox. So make sure you get that done. You can start or play that quest at many points in the game, but it is a very long quest. So if you're going to run it, make sure you actually have the time to run it, because oh dear god, is it a pain. I believe you can jump out in between missions if you need to save and like take a break, but it's still a very long quest, so keep that in mind, and you have to do all the prereqs for the Duviri Paradox, which means that you have to unlock Steel Path as well, so you have to do all of the prerequisites for the Steel Path. If you don't know what the Steel Path is, it is essentially hard mode Warframe. You can check it right here. It has enemy level, shield, health, armor increased, as well as more resource drop chance and mod drop chance. What Steel Path is hard mode Warframe essentially. How to unlock it is you need to complete all of the star chart nodes, every map on the star chart, at least once. That means every single map, you'll, like on Neptune, you'll have to do every single one of these missions. On Pluto, every single one of these missions, so on and so forth. All of the missions on the star chart at least once. I believe you can go to the relays, let's say, for example, Earth Strata relay or Venus. Does it have a relay, right? Old Vesper relay. Okay, it had a relay. But you were able to go to a relay, and I think it's talk to Teshin in order to see how many maps you might need left or what you may need when you're almost done unlocking Steel Path. But other than that, that's how you unlock Steel Path. To go to Duviri, you'll have to unlock Duviri, unlock Steel Path, and then go to the Steel Path, the Duviri, the Circuit experience right here, okay? So go to Duviri Paradox, Steel Path, the Circuit. Once you click onto the circuit, you will have a weekly rotation of 5 Incarnon weapons, and you are able to choose 2 out of those 5 Incarnon adapter weapons in order to make your Incarnon weapon. So that's how it works. You need both the base weapon and then the Incarnon adapter for this weapon. How it works is I've chosen, let's say, the Atomos Incarnon Genesis right here. That means that I need to have an Atomos, unlock the Incarnon, and then I go to Cavallero to put the Incarnon adapter onto the Atomos, and then I just start running missions and unlocking the multiple Incarnon adapter form unlocks, like skill tree things, the one I showed you earlier. It's the same with the dual E-core right here. If you want to know every single Incarnon adapter weapon, let's take a look. So week 1, I believe, will be Bratton, Leto, Skana, Paris, Kunai, Incarnon. Week 2 would be Boar, Gammacore, Angstrom, Gorgon, and the Anku Incarnon. Week 3 would be the Bow, the Latrin, the Strun, the Furix, and the Furis Incarnon. I think week 4 would be the Lex, the Magistar, the Boltor, the Bronco, and the Ceramic Dagger Incarnon. Week 5 should be the Torrid Incarnon, with the dual Toxis, dual E-core, Miter, and the Atomos Incarnon. That's the current rotation. The next week should be the Akenbrunk, the Soma, the Vasto, the Nami Solo, and then the Burstin Incarnon. Okay, maybe there's like 6 or 7 weeks. And then the final week should now be the Zylok, Sibir, Dread, Despair, and Hate Incarnon. Yeah, there's like 6 or 7 weeks now. Okay, it was originally 6, and then I think they updated it to 7 or something like that. I'm kind of bad with remembering all of those. Either way, that's how you do it. The circuit is an endless game mode, so all you have to do is just run Steel Path, begin the circuit, run the mission, and you'll slowly garner XP to unlock this chart here and all of the 2 Incarnon weapons per week. Of course, with that, it'll take a little bit of time, but the farther you run in Steel Path, or like the circuit missions, the more affinity, XP, circus progress you get, up to a cap of, I think, round 4. So once you hit round 4, that is the most amount of experience for the circuit you'll get every run, and then just every mission after that, since it's infinite, we'll just add pretty much that amount to it. So that is how you base get all of those Incarnon weapons. Let's quickly take a look down back at Cavallero on the Zeramin to see how that fully works with all of the other weapons. I gave you the little walkthrough before. It's essentially the exact same, but we'll just take a look. Once you get back down to Cavallero on the Zeramin, you just chat to your boy again, and then you have all of these things are Incarnon ready. These are all the previous Incarnon adapters that I have farmed up. You'll see that the requirements are Pathos Clamps, Rune Marrow, and some Duviri stuff. This means you will have to run base, the Duviri experience, or the lone story in the Duviri Paradox. So you can't just run the circuit, you will have to run the rest of Duviri Paradox in order to farm up the resources required to make all of the strongest weapons Incarnons in the game. But other than that, it's quite simple. You just plop the Incarnon adapter onto the weapon you want. For example, you might have a Boltor Prime and a regular Boltor, so you just probably want to pop it onto the Prime instead of the non-Prime. But other than that, it just kind of carries all of your weapons here. So you see how I have a Soma and a Soma Prime? It shows you both of the items here. It shows you the evolutions and what they'd give right there. So you can always check to see maybe the stat difference across all of those. Because if you'll see on the Soma Prime, it's like on the very bottom one, the zeroed in increased crit damage multiplier by 0.6, whereas on the regular Soma, increased point damage by 0.6. I just want to see if there's any differences. +6, +6, 50%, 50, 50, 50. Okay, it looks like they're all about the same. Some stats can be different across Incarnon and not, so I've just, you know, take a look to make sure. That being said, I would always just choose the stronger weapon over the weaker one, right? Like Strun Wraith or Strun Prime, pretty similar, but I would just choose and make the one that is stronger, the main one. Okay, here, you can see that the Strun Prime only has an increased damage of 2, whereas the Strun Wraith has an increased damage of +24. Okay, that's mainly what I wanted to show off, whereas the Soma and Soma Prime are the exact same. Okay, but they can have different stat differences, so 100% double check your weapons and make sure it's the proper one you're putting it onto, right? So I have a Telos Boltor right here, but I also have my Boltor Prime. The Telos Boltor increased damage by +4 on that one, and on this one, yeah, it's the same one. So just double check the weapon, okay? Make sure they're both good and it's what you want. And that is essentially all you do with Incarnons. You then, I should say, unlock and swap around evolutions as you so choose, so on and so forth. If there's anything I did miss that you think I should know or everyone should know, let me know, but I think that pretty much covers it all. So that is how you can unlock all of the Incarnon weapons in Warframe, all of the strong weapons, strongest weapons in game. So yeah, hope it helps. Sub, like, use Epic Games creator code Pupsker if you want to support the channel. But other than that, that is it for the guide for today. So thank you, and I will see you next time. Cheers.